Discussion time. I'm a language student. This is overly specific because I'm extra alert on this topic for every show and movie I watch. Aliens come to Earth and automatically know English, and I want to know how that happens. Language learning is not easy, so Ultra Magnus dropping in with his advanced vocabulary would be insane, except, thank God, I don't think he actually knows English. In fact, many characters probably do not know English in Transformers Prime. What am I saying? Transformers Prime actually did not rub me in the wrong way as most alien shows or movies do. There's an explanation that makes sense this time, so I can sleep better at night. Some of you might be sitting and scoffing, thinking, well, they're robots, so they just downloaded the languages. They learned it off eBay like in the movies. Well, see, there's a problem with that, but my ultimate answer is very close. Cybertronians likely use a universal translator. This is a common sci-fi explanation, but is not far-fetched. This device could search through a planet's internet or database, connecting images to words, and matching it up to Cybertronian terms. This means they could speak Cybertronian, and it would come out translated as English, and if they hear English, it could translate back to them in Cybertronian. Even their optics might be equipped to translate text. This might sound insane, but we already have similar technology to this on Earth. Google created a product called Pixel Buds in an attempt for wearers to hear another language and have it translated into their ears. The Google Translate app even has a camera option where you can hover over text and it will translate it. This is Romanian text turned into English. Our technology isn't perfect, but we're close. Now imagine an advanced version of this technology on Cybertron. So the Cybertronians themselves don't need to know English or any language to communicate with humans. This device could let them speak anything, from Cantonese to Irish Gaelic. But why do this? Why not just write the robots downloading information? The reason is actually something I love a lot about Transformers Prime. These robots are severely limited on purpose to make them less like technology and more like biological creatures. This is a common theme in Alliance. We should see them more like life forms made of metal, and imperfect people like us. Cybertronians are usually incapable of downloading information. They have to learn it. Cybertronians feel pain, can heal small cuts naturally, they require substance for energy, they need rest, they have emotions of course, they love games, like affection, are warm, and they can even get diseases. This is why they have to use interrogation and the cortical psychic patch on each other, because they can't simply open up their brains and get everything. What they can do is make the other think it, then they see it. But there's no actual removal or addition to the brain that they can do. It would have been convenient if Megatron could program bots into Decepticons, but he actually can't do that. Minds can be persuaded, but their brains, called processors, can't be coded. Remember that episode TMI, which showed the damage that happened to Bulkhead's brain when data was forced into it. Now think of when Soundwave was taken prisoner, and Ratchet said,
Soundwave is no ordinary Cybertronian, inside or out. So I would strongly suggest opening him up, so we can have a first-hand look at the information recorded on his drives.
Soundwave is a phenomenal Cybertronian because he has the ability to store files and not damage his brain. The fact that they can look into him is why Ratchet says he's not a normal Cybertronian. The line continuity makes it clear that Cybertronians have to manually learn new skills. Otherwise, what limits are stopping them? Why couldn't bots just download old science textbooks and be on par with Shockwave? Why not download a sword fighting pack to fight like Dreadwing and Wheeljack? We should honestly be thankful for the limits, or else everything would be too easy. But now, we get robots who can be dumb and make mistakes all the time.
We can free Miko if we can just return that harvester to the museum.
So the Decepticons can steal it all over again?
I am so dumb!
So a little more detail on language use in Transformers Prime. We can understand now why Smokescreen and Ultra Magnus can come to Earth and start speaking English right away. But did you notice sometimes where the bots didn't understand certain words? Here are some examples.
If you fail high school, you can't go to, college. Wait, what's that word again?
College?
My boss is gonna freak. That thing we stuffed in his tailpipe. What's it called again? Pizza!
Will you two keep it down?
A dragon? Where'd the cons get a dragon?
What's a dragon?
The other near the Hebrides Bluffs in Scotland. So don't forget to pack your kilts.
We must divide our resources. Ultra Magnus, lead the wreckers to the bluffs.
Yes, Optimus.
What's a kilt?
I'm actually glad that this happens. This supports the universal translator answer because certain words just can't be connected to Cybertronian words. And it totally makes sense because how do you translate pizza into a pizza-less culture? Ultra Magnus speaks advanced English using words like paramount, but he didn't know what a kilt was because the translator found no match. Now Cybertronian probably has a flexible voice box able to make many sounds, so it is possible for them to speak Cybertronian and throw in these new terms, all of it translating into English. I just want to address one specific thing I don't think the writers thought about. Wheeljack and Bulkhead don't know what a dragon is, but Unicron says dragon fire.
What's a dragon?
Destroy Primus with your dragon fire!
We should actually assume the entire Predacons Rising movie is in Cybertronian, untranslated between them. Unicron could just be saying an adjective based off the word Predacon, because he knows nothing about Earth culture. He was hibernating, and he had been told about humans by Optimus for the first time. This is overly specific, but let me introduce a topic to remember whenever you watch anything. Many times scripts are translated into English simply for the enjoyment of the viewer. Yes, the studio could make gibberish sounds and subtitle them, but that could take away from our enjoyment. Sometimes we make movies that take place in China, but they're speaking English. When we dub an anime that takes place in Japan, we know they are really speaking Japanese, but one might choose to listen to English to better understand the emotions. So the games War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron are in English, but that is not because they knew English before. In fact, Predaking in this show may actually never be speaking English. As a Predacon, he might not have this universal translator, for it's unknown if it is an invention or something they are forged with. I would lean on the side of it being an invention. The humans never actually hear Predaking speak either. You might now just wonder how Predaking was born with the knowledge of Cybertronian. I wondered this too until I read the Covenant of Primus. It appears that all intelligent Cybertronian lifeforms come with an innate understanding of Primus's language. They come out of the Well of Allsparks with adult bodies and knowledge of Cybertronian, but they still have immature minds like children. They might understand basic concepts through their words, but they wouldn't know jargon like cortical psychic patch. Predaking has a vague idea of what a demon is, and he even knows what a spark is. Spark memory and knowledge seems to be a real thing because Predaking is a clone of the Predaking, just a real ass of a character in the Covenant of Primus. His spark has returned to the clone body, inspiring the return of his name. So, summary up until now, Cybertronians are made with the basic knowledge of their own language, and is a voiced language, not just beeping. There's a difference between a voice box and the translator. The translator device lets them understand and communicate in other languages without them needing to learn them. However, Cybertronians can of course manually learn a language. The Autobots who have stayed on Earth for years likely have been, picking up the terms Saturday and cartoons.
What's Saturday?
You can watch cartoons back at base with Bumblebee.
Knockout is into Earth culture, and since he and Breakdown made so many puns, they must actually be speaking English for fun. Puns do not translate like at all. Those jokes would not work in Cybertronian. This makes sense. A lot of language learners find puns more witty than many of the native speakers do. When Knockout and RC go at it in a word battle, I think they're just having a blast of what they can do. I highly doubt anyone as proud as Starscream and Megatron would waste time learning a human language. Soundwave though probably just downloaded all the language packs. So Knockout using French might totally be weirding out the other Decepticons. He's probably honestly speaking Cybertronian and intentionally adding in French.
Do not return empty-handed.
Moi? Don't know the meaning of the word. Lord Megatron, if a ground bridge doesn't open too sweet, your specimen will belong to the Autobots.
Everyone else's translators would translate it, but they would notice it and be like, WTF, Knockout, just speak like a normal person. Before we go, also consider that what Bumblebee is speaking is not Cybertronian. I will answer again in another video, but there is a reason he is so bummed out about his voice loss. Cybertronians have a voiced language, which is what they would be speaking in the movie. The beeping language could actually be a code for the Cybertronian alphabet. Search Silbo or Turkish bird language on YouTube. They are based on Spanish and Turkish. They are basically speaking Bumblebee. And unless the universal translators have his code installed, it could be possible that anyone uneducated in this code, like the Predacons, might not have been able to understand Bumblebee voiceless. I'm not sure how many of you actually cared about language acquisition in this cartoon, but This video makes me feel better, let me tell you.
The Autobots! Optimus! Right there, waiting for you!
犯下的最大错误，我犯过几次，但我保证这个错误绝对不会再犯。
No, Master!